For Sentinel.com, this is Ira Winderman with your latest Ask Ira Miami Heat mailbag. Our first question today comes from Lester in Tampa, who writes, Briante Weber should be a keeper and should be the one to learn as a third-string point guard. That he has more instincts as a point guard than Tyler Johnson and Josh Richardson, including his passing skills and his defensive instincts. Lester, I agree, which is why it's been surprising that the Heat took all this time to try to develop Briante after his injury as a senior at Virginia Commonwealth, and now they've loaded up on their backcourt. To me, you either have a mentality as a point guard or you don't, as I've written before. But even more than that, he's a defensive bulldog, and I'm not sure the Heat have that in their backcourt. We know that's not something that Goran Dragic does, not something that Beno Udrih does. And maybe in private workouts, we've seen some of that from Tyler Johnson and Josh Richardson. But it seems having a defensive pest like Briante Weber would be something to enhance your roster. So I really am curious. They've already guaranteed 3/8 of Briante's pay for the coming season. Will they also guarantee him a roster spot? Our second question comes from Steven, who says, the gold medal game Sunday was a wipeout with our best players. Olympic basketball needs a change. Make it all college or half college and some pro, or an age restriction. Stephen, we get to this point almost all the time when there's dominance in the Olympics, but let me ask you, should Usain Bolt or Michael Phelps be banned because of their ascendancy as the best by far in their sports? Plus, if you limit NBA players from participating, you're doing the same for international players from other countries, so I'm not so sure that's the direction you want to go. And while we do have the rule in Olympic soccer limiting the age, again, you would be taking out so many players from the international pool from all the other teams. Plus, if you went to that type of approach, I'm not so sure how many Neymars there would be. NBA players who would say, hey, I'll be the 1 or 2 NBA All-Stars to play with a bunch of college players. No, this team is dominant, showed it during the Olympics. Now it's up to the rest of the world either to challenge or else just to simply marvel, as the rest of the world has with Bolt and with Phelps. And our last question today comes from Mo, who says, I like Dion Waiters, but if the Heat try to make him more than a sixth man this season, his head is going to explode. I don't think you'll see any exploding heads this season, Mo, but the Heat do basically try players at every and any possibility. And I think you'll see the same with Dion Waiters. He could possibly be a starter. He could possibly be a specialist for his scoring. The one thing I am curious about with Dion is that he signed at such a low number. Was there some type of guarantee made about a starting position or not? I don't believe that's the case. That certainly hasn't been the Heat's way. I would say Dion Waiters will come to camp, have to prove what he can do best, and then the Heat will try to find the best possible role to suit his skill set. Those are today's 3 questions. We'll be back tomorrow with 3 more. For SunSentinel.com, I'm Ira Winderman.